And we should be live. Hi, everyone. Hi, Patrick. Let's see if that works as
Hi.
usual. Hi, hey there. How is it going? Perfect. It's working. Okay. Just 1 second. Okay. Welcome, everyone. Today we have Patrick Loeber. I don't know if I pronounced that well. He's from
Yep.
Germany. He's a developer. He's a full-time developer in day, and then I think YouTuber at night, something like that. Perfect. So, sorry, it was the okay. So, Patrick, let's talk a little bit about yourself first, and then we step into content creation, and of course, Python as a language. Your videos. I haven't seen the latest one. Hey, so hi. There we
Yeah,
go.
sounds good.
Perfect. So let's get started. Hi there. Yes, a little bit more about yourself. We have met on Twitter, I think, and I've
Yeah, I
seen some
think.
of your videos. Hey, Julia. Hi there. Okay, so let's get started. Patrick.
Yeah, so thanks for having me here. I'm Patrick. I'm a software developer from Germany, so I'm currently living in Berlin. And yeah, I'm working full-time as a software engineer, and I'm also running a YouTube channel with the name Python Engineer. So yeah, like the name says, the channel is all about Python and
This is not a
also
secret. Yeah.
also a lot about machine learning. And yeah, that's what I'm doing on the side. And yeah, the channel is growing pretty nicely. So it's currently at 66,000 subscribers. So I'm pretty happy.
Yeah. I see some space behind your wall, so maybe you will need to stick something on that wall soon. So maybe some silver button, I don't know, something like that. Maybe soon. I see that you have space. I also have, but I have way.
Yeah, it would be a good
Way
fit for my
further.
background.
Yeah, nice. Okay, so Patrick, a little bit about you. How did you step into tech and then into content creation and also finally Python? Hey, Saurav, you said that you would have been here and you are a man of word. Nice, nice.
Nice. Yeah, I
Perfect.
recognize
Hey
it
there.
too. Hi. How did I get started in tech? Yeah, so I went to university, but I didn't study computer science. So I actually studied it was called medical engineering, and this was like a mix between mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, and also computer science, and also with a focus on medical data, medical image processing, for example. And then during the higher semesters, I focused more on the computer vision part. And then I did my master's also. And then, yeah, I specialized my master's in medical image processing. And this was basically like computer science. And that's how I got into programming.
No, this is interesting. We have something similar in Italy, which is called medical engineering. I don't know if that's maybe they say that it could be really hard because basically you do a lot of courses in the same one, so it has maybe
Yeah.
the words of maybe it's more on the engineering part, so you don't
Yeah, I think
yeah.
like at my university, like 50% of the people quitted it because it was not so easy, because you have a little bit of everything. So you have to be good at math, engineering, and then also computer science. But yeah, I got through. And yeah, so I graduated in 2017. And then I started working as a full-time software engineer since then. Yeah.
Nice. And during the university, which languages have you used?
So the first language I was taught is called MATLAB. So I'm not sure if you can call this a programming language, but yeah, it was a nice introduction. And then like the first true language was Java. So I had 1 year of Java. and then 1 year of C++. So these were the two languages that I learned at university. Yeah. So actually, I didn't learn Python at university. So I taught this myself with
Funny.
online courses. But I did Java and C++ at university. Yeah.
Funny. I don't know why Java is so popular at universities. I also done a
Yeah,
classic
so
Java.
many universities use this for teaching. So I think it's good to teach about the object-oriented programming concepts. Yeah.
Nice. We have a question by Saurabh. Maybe you need to wait a little bit more, but can you make a preview? Can you give a preview of this about this question? And before I want to step into content creation, the YouTube part, and then Python part. So stick with us, Saurabh. Little bit sneak peek. How do you explore so deeply in Python?
Yeah, good question. So like I said, I didn't learn this at university, so I learned this myself with online courses. But when I got into Python, I already knew Java and C++, so I think it's pretty easy to pick up Python once you know the programming concepts. And yeah, and since then I'm working full-time as a software engineer, so I've been working with Python multiple years now, and yeah, I think that's why I got so deeply into Python.
I really like what you said about the programming concepts, because we know on Twitter we like to joke about which is the best programming language. I also made a poll before this this live stream, which is your favorite programming language, and of course Python won hands down 80% because of the thumbnail, I think. But I think it's very important to understand the programming concepts instead of maybe like wasting like 2 months or 3 months of your for life trying to think about which is the best programming language before even starting. Whatever exists in Python is covered by you. Yeah. Also, yeah.
But yeah, I know there's a constant battle between JavaScript and Python on Twitter. I also sometimes bash against JavaScript, but just for fun.
For sure. And also PHP. PHP is the most bullied one.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of people who made a lot of money with PHP. Okay, Patrick. So let's go back into your content creation path. And in the YouTube, in the first video, because I think it's interesting, I always ask about the first video. How do you got the idea of this YouTube channel?
Yeah, sure. So I started a little bit more than 2 years ago in summer 2019. And back at this time, I didn't have any online presence at all. And I've read somewhere that like the best thing you can do as a software engineer for your career is to build an online presence. So to either start a blog, or if you want to go a step further, you can do YouTube videos. So I had this in my mind that I want to build an online presence. So this was like one big reason for me. And then the next thing was that I learned a lot about machine learning at university, but I didn't apply these concepts in my day job anymore. So I'm working as a normal software engineer, but not really as a machine learning engineer. But I still wanted to stay up to date and learn new concepts in the machine learning field. So, and then I thought like teaching is the best way to learn for yourself. So this was another big reason. And I also wanted to share my knowledge with other people. And then what got me the last push is actually a funny story, because I failed a job interview really hard. So
Nice.
At this time, I applied for another job. So I was like 2 years in my previous role, and I applied for a job, and the title was Senior Python Software Developer. And I thought, okay, I have 2 years of experience now. I can apply for a senior role. So I did, and I got invited to the interview, and they asked a lot of questions, and also like intermediate concepts, but not 2 difficult questions, so it was actually pretty fair. So it was stuff that you should know as a senior developer. And I knew these things, but during the interview, I just couldn't explain them. So I struggled really hard explaining them. And then right after the interview, I felt so bad, and I thought, "Oh my God, what have you done?" And then I got the phone call like 1 day later, and they told me, "Sorry, we don't continue." And this got me the push, because I thought I need to practice explaining things. And that's why I started. And then I chose these intermediate Python topics as my first videos. So like my very first video is about lists in Python, which is it's pretty basic, but I go into lists very deeply and try to explain the more advanced concepts also. And so all my first videos were all about these questions that I should explain in interviews, and that's how I got started.
Yeah, I think this is very inspiring. I think also for me, one of the best days of my life is when I failed an interview. So it depends. It depends on how you act after that. I also failed an interview, and after that, I started to work way harder, and then I got a way better job. So for me, it has been a different path. Maybe I should have started YouTube that day. I thought that maybe even a better idea. But so this means that
it helped me so much, because like 3 months after I started my channel, I had another job interview where I should do live coding. And at this time, I already made like 20 videos. And then I already had some experience in coding and also explaining while I'm doing this. And this really helped me. So I crushed the next interview.
Nice. And 20 videos, they are a lot, but it's not like 3 years or 5 years. Maybe you learned more practical stuff in those 20 videos. I don't know how much did it take, but basically when you need to teach, both of my parents are teachers, so I have this mindset of teaching. When you start teaching something, you still start to grab the basic concepts, how to explain this to the beginners. And yes, so I think this has been very useful. So maybe some of the comments that you got in some of your videos, because they maybe ask about something about the video, and you need to start explaining. And of course, this is your YouTube channel, so you want to answer in the best way. The way, hi Tommy, he has been on my YouTube channel. I don't know if you know him, but he's also a Python YouTuber.
And great Django tutorials.
Yeah, great. Ken says that planning to start working in Python. This is helpful for me. So we are exactly here for you, Ken. And if you have any idea, Kush asks about Web3, which is not really the topic, but maybe not. But with virtual environment issue. No, maybe he's talking about virtual environment in Python. So can you give an answer about this? Any Web3 library in Python?
So I have no experience with Web3, to be honest. And virtual environments is a popular concept in Python programming to manage your different projects. But it's hard to give an answer, so I have to see the specific issue.
Yeah, of course. But I'm sure that you can. But I think it depends, because Web3 is more about the concept. I think that you can code something for Web3 in Python. So maybe there are maybe some, because I see, for example, I've also started to check about Solidity, but they are programming languages specific for crypto. But it's more, I think Web3, but it's more about how do you apply the language. It's not about that there is the language for the Web3. I don't know if there is, honestly. I know way less than you about Python for sure. Yeah. So let's keep going, Pari, because it's very interesting. So you crashed. You were saying that you have crashed an interview. Are you working there or no?
Yeah, I'm still working at this position.
So you are working in that interview that you crashed.
Yeah.
Nice. But then I see some people, when they find a job, they maybe stop making videos. Instead, you didn't stop. right? Was it
Right.
harder, or what has been your experience after starting a job? Or someone in the chat could think like, but you on YouTube, you don't need to work, but the money that you get from YouTube, they are not that much. So maybe you still have to work.
Yeah, it was definitely harder, and I also didn't think that I would be so consistent with it. So I think since I started it, on average, I post one video per week, so one video each week, and yeah, it takes more time than many people think. So I don't know, maybe I need like 15 hours for one video. So it's not easy to do this on top of a normal day job. But yeah, I just enjoyed it so much that I kept going. And also, like last year, the whole COVID stuff helped with this, because since then I'm in the home office all the time, so I can save some time, and yeah, this also helped.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes I feel bad when I say that 2019 has been a great year for me, for my content creation, because maybe we had to stay at home, and maybe I stayed on Twitter, you were already on YouTube, so it has been useful from a content creator point of view.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, on 66,000 of followers. I
Yeah,
think it's
thank
6
you.
subscribers, yes, on YouTube, but it's the same.
Yeah, it's right now it's super crazy. It's like it took me 8 months for the first 1,000 subscribers,
Wow.
and in the last 30 days it was 10,000 subscribers in just 1 month, and that's just crazy.
It seems that someone had decided to learn Python somewhere in the world. Nice. So yeah, so about Python, because the title is "All You Need Is Python." It's like like the famous song "All You Need Is Love." So all you need is Python, but so which are the main applications for Python? So how can we use Python? I remember that we have just 1 hour, Patrick. Remember that.
Okay. Yeah, it's hard to fit this in a short period of time. So like I think you can use Python for pretty much anything, and that's the beauty of Python. And yeah, I think the main areas or the biggest areas are machine learning and also web development. But then there's also a lot of other stuff like automation stuff, networking stuff. You can even do game development or application development. So yeah, you can do pretty much anything. And yeah, but yeah, like I said, like the biggest fields are machine learning, of course, and web applications with, for example, Flask or Django. These are pretty popular web frameworks in Python.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, and it has been funny because I've been coded Python for a couple of weeks, both Django and Flask, because I'm working for them to create some templates, some CRUD API templates. So can you please make an introduction about Django, Flask, and Fast API, if you have used them, and maybe which are differences? What are they? Let's pretend that we know absolutely nothing about even Django, because I see that some beginners also get confused between just Django and Python. So can we explain the difference, please?
Yeah, it's a question I get all the time. So which one should you choose first, Django or Flask? So these are like the two biggest ones. And it always depends on what you want to achieve. So Flask is also known as a micro framework. So it's pretty easy to get started with Flask. You only need like 5 lines of code, and then you have a web application up and running. So it's super easy to prototype with Flask and to do a quick web application. But you can also use it for full-blown web apps. But then on the other hand, if your goal is to get a really good full-blown web application, for example, for a software product, software as a service product, then I would choose Django. And for Django, it takes a little bit more time to learn it. but Django has so many things already included. For example, like user management or admin stuff. So Django has a lot of things included that make it so easy to work with, and that's why Django is great. And Fast API is another new player, so it's pretty new. It's like, I don't know, like 1 year old, but it's getting really popular. It's similar to Flask in the coding style, and it's very fast. It's one of the fastest web frameworks out there right now. So if you care about speed, then you should have a look at this.
Absolutely. And I've used the Django a bit and Flask, but I've never tried the Fast API. So if you have some videos, I think that you have about Fast API. And I think that one of the strengths of your channel is that you are focused on something. I stress this so much on Twitter, that the more you are focused and the more people you attract. And you are the living example of this, because if you start making random videos, maybe you get, at the beginning you get some people following you, but then you lose something. Instead, you are focused on something which is not that small, to be honest. If we say Python, it's huge, but at least it's everything is related. So this is one of the secrets.
Yeah,
you're also
that's
very good.
very true. So when I created my channel and I called it Python Engineer, so right after the beginning, I was worried that I limited myself just to Python, and I thought, oh no, I also want to do maybe C++ or JavaScript at some point, or Flutter, I don't know. So I was worried, but then I realized that having this niche is actually pretty good. And also, like, you can do so much with Python. So I think I'm never running out of content ideas for Python. So I think it's a good choice.
Yeah, for sure. Yes, if you have an idea, it's way better. It's almost the same with Docker for me, for example. And talking about Docker and DevOps, here we have DevOps Directory. I don't know if you know Sid Palace.
Yeah, great
He's
channel.
amazing. What's your preferred approach tool for managing virtual environments? And this is a question that I also wanted to ask, because especially I think that for containerization, I think he's asking for this. So it's important for us to create then solid images. So which is your preferred tool?
Yeah, so I like two tools. So when I work in a machine learning project, then I like to use the Conda environments, so Anaconda. But for just small projects, I just like the built-in virtual env module.
Okay, so you prefer to stay simple. Because, for example, I've watched some tutorials because I also need to test that, and yes, so you prefer just to activate the basic virtual environment. I think this is also what I did for the containerization part. We can also collaborate on something like that, which is, I think it's a very interesting topic because it's a simple one.
Yeah, cool. Okay, yeah, poetry, I've heard about this. And I want to try this, but I haven't so far, but I've heard good things about this. So yeah, I think it's like also a tool to manage different environments and projects. And also, I think different Python versions, which might be interesting for someone.
Nice. And as you can see, since now we are talking about Python, but for example, we are also talking about Python related to containerization, but we have also people asking questions or related to Python, also make comments about that. So this is really something which is really powerful, and I think it also lets you to save time, because as you said, maybe you are also coding in other ways, but when we are focused, when we are on content creation, I think that the less you do it, the better you live.
Yeah.
So you have time to do other stuff and to live, basically eat, sleep, stay with your family. So otherwise, it's hard, especially I think also for collaborations. I don't know if have you ever done some collaboration on YouTube or still not?
Yeah, I did some a few interviews. I did one with Caleb Curry, and then I had one collaboration with Tommy, actually, Code with Tommy, but he did one video on my channel.
Nice.
But yeah, actually, I want to do more of these collaborations in the future. So
Nice.
yeah,
I got
and
them both. I got them both on my YouTube channel. It's
yeah,
self promotion. Yeah.
the one big collaboration I did was with Free Code Camp. So
Nice.
they combined one of my playlists. It was called I called it Advanced Python, and on their channel they called this Intermediate Python course, 6 hours. So they combined all of these videos into one video and published it on their channel. And yeah, this video alone has now over 1 million views, and that's just mind blowing. And this really helped my channel also grow.
So now we know the secret.
Yeah.
How you exploded. Now we know the secret.
Collaborate with Free Code Camp.
Nice. This is also why I still struggling for the 10,000 views. Okay, so I have a plan. I have a plan for 2022 or 2021. Are we still in 2020? So yes. Nice. So yes, a lot of analogies also with my story, Patrick. I think that maybe I missed one question. Maybe this one, if I can. Thanks, Patrick. What's your best approach to learning by teaching? I'd like to learn more about your learning teaching strategies.
Yeah, so my approach is that I actually also like to watch YouTube videos to learn new stuff. So whenever I want to learn a new topic, I try to collect some resources, and for this I watch YouTube videos and I also read articles. And then out of these resources, I try to summarize the main important stuff in like one article for me with the main points, and then I try to explain it to others. And that's how I approach this.
Perfect. And I really love this approach of learning and then teaching. So it's
Yeah,
like
and
you.
actually for my videos, I don't script them, or most of my videos I don't use a script, so I just I just code and then try to explain while I'm coding. And yeah, this gives you so much practice in teaching.
To be honest, I love this approach. Maybe it's a bit awkward in the beginning, but then I think that you can save a lot of time. So you need to resist a couple,
Yeah,
3 or 4 videos. You need to resist a couple of videos, but then you save a lot of time because, for example, I've also bought, for example, a teleprompter that I've never used that. Usually,
yeah,
I just talk naturally. Maybe it's bad, but I like the
I don't think
idea.
it's bad.
I like the no, yeah, I like joking. I like the idea that when you make a video, you also improve. You are improving also because then if you need to make, as an example, a conference, you need to be a speaker. Then you have a way better performance. We are not rock stars, but at least we have we are better in a live, or if you need to do a live coding or yeah. So I like this approach more. It depends, of course. It depends on the kind of video.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, so hey Tommy, we need to keep in touch again. What's your experience with blogging? So do you have a blog? Do you blog on some platforms?
Yeah, I created a website along with the channel when I started it. So it's python-engineer.com. And I publish one post for each video. And in the beginning, I also wrote very long blog posts, but it's just getting too much. So for my older or newest videos, I just write 1 or 2 sentences on the blog. But sometimes when there's an a very interesting topic, then I try to write a long article as well. And sometimes I also cross-post them. So for example, I have a Hashnote blog and I have a profile on DevTube. I don't know what's it.
Dev.to, yeah.
Dev.tube. So there I also have some followers. So yeah, I don't enjoy writing that much, so I prefer doing video content. But I think still writing is a very good way to practice your skills and to improve a lot. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think it depends because there are people maybe they prefer. I think that I am in the middle, so I prefer I like to do them both. I like the idea of creating an article for yourself. So in the meanwhile, you create an article and a video, or the opposite sometimes, and you follow them. That it's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. I can. Great. What's your hardest Python project you ever worked on? The hello world. Oh.
Oh yeah, that's a very good question. The hardest Python project. Um, um, I think this was actually for my master's thesis. So when I was still at university, um, at the end I had to develop one big project where there was a machine learning project where I had to classify or identify stroke patients from images. So when a patient has a blood clot in some artery or vein, then the program would automatically see this and then give an alert. And I had to implement a full, complete machine learning pipeline to do this. And this was, I think this was one of the hardest ones I did. Also because I didn't had this much data to train the model back then, because it's very important to have a lot of good data if you do machine learning. So I had to find ways how to deal with not that much of data. And I struggled really hard with this, but in the end, I think the end result was pretty nice.
Nice, nice. And I just made a poll, so if you want to answer, I asked what's your experience. There is a type of experience with Python: very good, decent, beginner, never tried it. So at least we have an idea of the people that are watching, so we can coordinate and adjust the level accordingly. But yeah, so in the meanwhile, oh no, we have a question. What was your favorite project so far? This is a great question.
My favorite project is my machine learning from scratch series on my YouTube channel. So you can look that up. There's a playlist with, I think, 13 videos. And what I did there is I implemented the most popular machine learning algorithms from scratch. So just with pure Python and one library that is called NumPy. So this is my favorite project because I learned so much while I did this. So you really get a deeper understanding of the underlying algorithms, how they work, and how the machine is learning things. So yeah, that's, I think, still one of my favorite projects. And there are still a lot of other algorithms that I didn't cover. So I'm thinking if I should continue this series. So maybe I will.
Nice. Or maybe you make like the web series, like it's the series 2. And usually the series are about 10 or 13 episodes, so you can make a second series about this. That maybe how much ago have you done this series? Last year.
Yeah, these were also one of my earliest videos. So I did them back in 2019 all the way to the beginning of 2020. So yeah, it's more than 1.5 years ago.
Yeah, in the meanwhile, I'm looking for your YouTube channel, so this is why I'm distracted. But it's for good reason. So let me share also the YouTube channel here. Thank you, of course, for subscribing here. And yes, so okay, so here the question, about so what kind of what is your favorite content about Python? So maybe to create some very basic videos, advanced stuff. Which is your favorite? Like that you wake up like, okay, now I have to make this video, and I like this.
Yeah, it's always a struggle to find a good balance. So My favorite topics are like the more advanced ones, where I can also learn a lot of new stuff. But I know that these like beginner type videos are more popular and gets more views. So it's always a struggle to find a good balance between beginner stuff and more advanced stuff. But yeah, I actually prefer the more advanced stuff myself, so then I can learn more new for me. But both
Yeah,
are fine, yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah.
also,
Well,
yeah, like recently I also started doing more of talking videos. So in the beginning I just had coding tutorials where I coded and recorded my screen. But lately I also try to make content where I just talk to the camera and try to explain, I don't know, what are the most popular machine learning libraries, for example. Yeah.
nice. I think this is a great exercise for you.
Yeah,
It's a great
definitely one thing I can
exercise.
still improve, but it's fun.
Yeah, I should start doing also this for containerization, just explain this just live. Yeah, it's just an exercise because sometimes maybe we know the concepts very well, but teaching it's another story. You know exactly what to do. You just type without even watching the keyboard. But when you get sometimes the super basic questions they're very hard to explain. So
Yeah, for
yes.
sure. Oh, thanks for subscribing.
Yeah, of course. Thank you, Lila. Yeah. Okay. So, which has been, for example, a project you have been working lately, or maybe you are currently working on, and are you enjoying this?
Is there a question somewhere? I don't see it, or did you just read this?
No, no,
What I'm currently
that was
working
just
on?
me. That was just me asking.
Okay,
If
so
this,
what I'm currently working on, a project?
yeah, what are you currently working on? If there is something specific or something hot topic that maybe you have made some videos on the recent part.
Yeah, I'm currently I'm exploring more of Fast API. So this is this new hot
Nice.
web development framework, and I want to create a full series about this. Because yeah, I noticed some other creators also started doing a few videos about this. For example, I think Code with Tommy also has one good crash course, but there's still room for more stuff about Fast API, and it's definitely becoming more and more popular, and also more companies are starting to use this. So it's definitely a good thing to learn this if you want to do web development, and that's why I'm currently trying to learn more about Fast API and maybe create a whole tutorial series about this.
Nice, nice. Perfect. So I think it's important also to stay updated to create also videos on new stuff or new series. So I think that I also need to check Fast API.
Absolutely. I watch a
Let's
lot
see.
of YouTube content to get inspiration.
Nice, nice. And I have this question, if you don't have any. Yes, if you want to create maybe a tutorial, because I like to create tutorials with API and containerization, but I do this with different languages. I'm also starting to with Python also too. Um, so, what do you think is the easiest of the three frameworks to create some API from scratch, connected also to ADB? Which one will you
Yeah,
choose?
yeah. I think the easiest one is definitely Flask. So, like I said, that you only need 5 lines of code and you have a Flask application, and yeah, it's pretty nice. And there's also a lot of content out there already. So if you need help, you can Google this and you probably find an answer somewhere. And yeah, it's I think you can pick up Flask pretty fast.
Yes, and I can confirm this even if I
Yeah,
haven't tried the Fast API, but for example, for Django, you need to understand a little bit of the basics, the settings, some files. I'm not going into super details because
yeah.
maybe I'd say something
And Flask
wrong,
is
but
perfect for a REST API. So if you want
mm,
to do this, then Flask is also a good choice.
Yes, because Django, I think it came up with, of course, you can have the REST API support, but for example, I used Django not with a RESTful API, but with an interface. So the views.
Yeah, I think that's basically two separate things: the Django REST framework and the normal Django framework. And yeah, there you also have this, like, the user management stuff and the front end interface for the admin. So yeah, but if you don't need any of that, if you just want the REST API, then you can also just use Flask.
Nice. Nice, yes. Perfect. This is what I'm doing now. I just need to make the update and the delete one, and I'm done. But I've already done two, and with zero experience, I was pretty. Once I got the database connection, it has been kind of easy, kind of straightforward, let's say.
Okay,
So
cool.
another question, if I can, hey there. What are the necessary Python concepts to master in order to become a machine learning engineer or expert?
Yeah, so you should definitely have basic Python skills. So if you want to go above the beginner level and want to also learn more intermediate stuff, then I can recommend my own video, which I mentioned, this intermediate Python course on Free Code Camp. You can check this out. So this teaches like all of the intermediate stuff. And if you understand all of them, then I think you have a pretty good foundation. Then you pretty much have all the programming concepts that you need as a machine learning engineer. And then also, like, the next thing you should learn are the popular machine learning libraries and data science libraries. For example, NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib. So I think these are really important in the machine learning area. So without them, you can't go very far. So definitely also do a NumPy course, and then just create projects and see what else you need to learn. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just found the video where we were talking, and this video is not 6 hours, but it's almost 6 hours, 5 hours and 55 minutes. And by the way, I've also a Free Code Camp mug. I don't know if this makes sense, but this is not sponsored by Free Code Camp, by the way. Yes, so I think that would be a very great way
Absolutely.
to get started.
Yeah. But yeah, you don't need to be an expert, a programming expert, to work as a machine learning engineer. You just need a basic amount that you can code stuff, and yeah, I think the rest you can then just Google and then have to apply the specific libraries.
Yeah, we have had many machine learning experts, like Santiago, Pratham, Prasoon. So we had people very focused on the machine learning niche, and I
Cool.
think it's a very cool niche.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's kind of wide, because also if we say just machine learning, it's like saying web development. There are niches inside that niche, of course. But yeah, I think it depends on what you want to focus more, what you like more. But it's good. So I don't know if you know Rust, but is it possible to integrate Rust library into Python code? I don't have an answer to this. I know a person who is coding in Rust. So do you know something about this? Or
No, actually, sorry, I have no experience with Rust. I know that, for example, to C++, there's a perfect integration. So it's a perfect mix to use Python and C++. So I could imagine that there's also a bridge to Rust, but I'm not sure when I'm honest.
Yeah, I don't know. There is one person who is Luciano Mammino. He's Italian, and he makes live streams about Rust. So, for example, I always want to jump on those live streams, but yeah, as we say, then I think it's not more about the language, but it's more about the projects. So, for example, when I'll get into something which can be involved with Rust. I've seen that this is a super hot news that Vercel has switched to a Rust compiler now to be even faster. I knew this yesterday. Okay, maybe, yeah. Perfect. Great, Sid. Project
Pi03.
code Pi03. Pi0, no, Pi03 that provides Rust bindings for Python.
Okay, yeah, I have to check this out.
Yeah, I think that I've seen something like Jython, Java and Python, something like that. I don't know if you ever watched that. Sometimes I see that there are lots of that meme with the elephant, say like, what is this? Like with the combination of two levels. I think it depends. I think it depends, maybe. Yeah, I'm not a super fan of combining. Maybe it depends on the project, of course.
Yeah.
Thank you. Say that you went on the rescue. Yes. Okay, Patrick. So I see that there are a lot of people who are really beginners. So I made this poll, and like almost half of the people are really beginners. So can we give some advice to the beginners, especially what I usually get also some questions about Docker, and you can make the same question about Python. So it's the roadmap. So how do I learn stuff? Because maybe you can check different resources, and of course check the Patrick's one. But which are the steps if you are, let's say, a beginner just getting started with Python in general?
Yeah, I think if you're still a beginner and want to learn Python, then I would say that this is the first good choice. So Python definitely is a great choice for beginners. It makes a lot of concepts just easier for learning, and like good resources to get started are actually on the free Code Camp channel. I think they have two very awesome courses. One is, I think it's even 12 hours long. They have a 12-hour Python course, and they also have a 3-hour beginner Python course. So these are two very good videos that you can watch in the beginning. And if you, for example, like to learn with a book, there's also a book that it's called Automating the Boring Stuff with Python. And yeah, this is a great book because you implement these small little projects where you automate, for example, a small web scraper or a calculator, or just these tiny projects that are fun to implement. And so I can recommend this book. And then, yeah, once you're more experienced, for example, you can try out web development and create your first web application, for example, with Flask then. And yeah, there are also awesome YouTube channels that teach Flask or Django development. So, for example, check out Traversy Media or Corey Schäfer. They both have awesome courses about Flask and Django. And yeah, and then just go from there. And then, like I also mentioned, so if you're familiar with the beginner concepts, you can try out my intermediate Python playlist.
Nice, Patrick. Thank you for sharing this. I think it's also very important to just we are not like competing, but maybe it's interesting maybe to give different levels to different people. Till I watched all the course, 12 hours.
Wow.
Yes, sometimes when I see this kind of hours, I think like people like grabbing popcorns and just watch that. But maybe that's not the idea.
Yeah, I hope you don't learn like that. So yeah, I always say this to my students. If you watch a YouTube course, then try to immediately apply the stuff you learned and code your own stuff with the new concepts, not just sit there and watch it with popcorn.
Yeah, I made, I think, a couple of last month. I said like, okay, it's Friday, let's watch my favorite show, and it was a Traversy Media video, but that was a joke, of course.
Yeah.
Even maybe some Crash Course, maybe it's even better than some Netflix series, maybe. So I don't know. It depends. Yeah. So thank you for joining. No, you can have snacks. Yeah, you can have. But yeah, you are joking, of course, but it's important to don't to watch tutorials. For example, I like also your approach, or just trying to learn not with a perfect style, let's say, but trying maybe you to improve. Also, so you're also improving. Maybe it's not the perfect, but I don't know. The perfect video doesn't really exist about a topic. You can use your favorite one. I don't know. There are so many factors. Maybe, I don't know, like the voice of the YouTuber, the style. Also, maybe someone gets distracted. For example, I've seen that you don't put yourself at the bottom of the video. For example, I also do this kind of stuff. I'm creating a series where now, for me now, for example, it's not a problem to show to show my face. Maybe you notice that I have a stream also tomorrow and the day after tomorrow. But usually, what I do is just an introduction with my face, and at the end, I just say okay. And in the middle, I try to create something without even showing my face. So this is a style. I think this is also a Traversi Media style. Of course, I'm not comparing to him, but we have the advantage of just showing the screen, showing what you need, and there are different styles. Maybe someone likes the person at the bottom, someone
Yeah,
does not.
absolutely. And yeah, I tried this. So I have my face in small in the bottom in like 2 or 3 videos. But then actually some people or some of my viewers complained and said that they got distracted by this. So then I removed it again, and then now I do it like you said. Sometimes I show myself in the beginning, but then during the video I just have the screen.
Yeah, for example, now I'm thinking about this. That my very first videos about Docker, it was they were with me at the bottom explaining, and that was also harder for me because if you make a mistake, you need to record everything. Instead, if you don't show your face, you can also like cut, maybe put maybe a phrase said
Yeah.
correctly. So maybe the video is more polished. I think you save time. I think it took me like hundreds of time. Maybe I also was at the beginning, so maybe now the result will be the same, but I would be more shameless now. So, but yeah, I think it depends on the style. If you have, I think, a good setup, if you show your screen, I don't know, with the the good font size and everything which is light up, maybe it's not that
Yeah.
useful. Yeah, it depends on what you are saying. For example, you are saying that now you are also trying to explain concepts. Maybe, I don't know, if that case you don't even show the screen, or are you also showing
No,
screen?
it's just the full screen my face
Ah,
like
it's
now.
interesting.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
that format is interesting. Maybe I should try that because I do, for example, some Q&A, but that could
Yeah.
be very interesting to do something very focused on containerization. I need to try this. I always like to experiment new stuff, and yes. So, Patrick, this has been really a very good interview. Now I made this coming out, so I'm not a Python hater at all. Even on Twitter,
Yay.
someone still thinks that I like to fight. I like to like jokes, and it's always funny when someone says to me like, "Try Python, it's cool." Like if I haven't ever tried that in my life, but I like the language, and I think it's a very powerful language. And of course, every language has their pro and cons. But for example, if you don't have an idea on which language you could get started, I think that Python would be a good idea. Do you agree or not, Patrick?
Absolutely, 100% agree.
Of course, that was a rhetorical question. So, would you like to say something at the end, especially for the people maybe that are at the beginning or maybe struggling learning in the process, or maybe give a final message to people that are watching? By the way, say hi because we are about to close. Thank you, by the way,
Yeah,
Patrick.
yeah, don't give up and practice a lot. I know it's hard sometimes. And yeah, and then also, like, I recently did a tweet about this because a lot of people, they do this 100 days of code thing, and then they just get burned out. So don't put too much pressure on you. Also take breaks and maybe also sometimes off coding. But yeah, just be consistent and practice as much as you can. And then I think you're on a good way.
I think this is you are here. I think this is a very solid advice. So I think I also people they say also to me that I am like maybe a motivator, maybe because I've been a coach for 20 years, so I have this in my blood. I can't put that motivational being out of me. But it's more important. I like to make tweets about this motivation, but I think the idea of the tweet is maybe if some person is a bit demotivated, it is reading Twitter, they can just get out of Twitter, or maybe just get that little spark of motivation. But Simon, good day. Where is this one? Yeah, but this is not a secret anymore. I made this coming out. So probably some people who love the Python, they unfollowed me and they made a mistake because probably now I release more stuff about Python. So also stay updated because I'm working on this, especially with some collaborations. Okay. Yes. So I like what you say, that you need to listen to your body. Don't overdo things. Maybe focus more on the long run. We are always repeating the same things, but it's very important. I remember that I made like 100 interviews in 100 days, and the last
Amazing.
10 ones I started to. I'm not saying like hating YouTube, but I was craving for a break. And I remember that when I made my 101, I was like, say, okay, let's make a video tomorrow. The way instead, I made a pause because I felt like that I started almost to hating videos. So I stopped for 2 weeks, and then I came out totally refreshed, and now I'm still making interviews. So it has been good that I stopped, because otherwise you need a long stop. Then you start hating this. This happened to me, for example, when I made like a 6 months unpaid internship. It was a nightmare, and I had to stop coding for like 1 year, 2 years, because it was too stressful. And then and now I'm back, but I lost some time because I had to really a hard break, and this is what you don't want. You just want to maybe continue and maybe relax. There are some days when you need to relax. You need to listen to your body and also your mind. It's harder because I make a lot of analogies with sport. So if you go for a run, you feel tired and you rest. That's for sure. With mental activities, it's a bit subtle. You can try to maybe you get a coffee and you keep going other 3 hours. Then the day after you feel stressed, and after months. Great solid advice. Although giving your brain some days of rest to let stuff sink in is better than learning every day. Absolutely. Tia, our life is long. We have this huge advantage that we can still, I don't know, like coding when we will be 60, 70, 80, I don't know, until our mind helps stays with us. So as I think that as developers, we totally need to go for the long run. There is this stereotype that developers, they hate sports. I don't know if that's true or not. It's not my case for sure. And yes, instead we need to really play long run. Thank you, Patrick, for joining. Thank you for all the questions, the comments. Now you know also my secret about Python. Now it's on YouTube. Patrick, I hope to collaborate with you again. Please, let's keep in touch, because I'll keep doing... I do something, of course, related to Docker, but with different languages. And Python is the one that I'm working right now. So this is also one of the reasons why I invited you exactly in this period. So let's keep in touch. Let's do something together. That would be amazing. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me, Francesco. I really enjoyed being here. And yeah, let's stay in touch.
Perfect. And of course, subscribe to his YouTube channel. It's already a great YouTube channel. And also, you are also pretty active on Twitter lately. You have been pretty active
I am.
on Twitter. So let's
tweet
not forget
every
about this.
day, and I actually engage a little bit more with the people on Twitter than on YouTube. So you can also ask me questions all the time on Twitter. Yeah.
Perfect. And yeah, this is the Twitter handler. Come on, let's show him some love. Also, just for the handler, Python engineer. I love that. Perfect. Okay, perfect. We are done.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We need to work on the theme of this series. We will work on this. But for now, bye.